So thanks for
Why?
coming. It's a beautiful, warm day, and there are plants in season. We're going to take a look at them and learn how to identify them and use them. Everyone is responsible for what you eat, and there are some poisonous things I'll be showing you as well. If you don't pay attention and you eat those, okay, ask questions. When we find a plant, I'll show it to you. Everyone can pick one up, and then we'll socially distance and go over all the features.
Yeah, I think there's going to be different plants this time, different, like on this website, there was a mushroom, some kind of, I remember this one is still around, yeah.
Okay, first thing we're going to look at is common plantain. Everyone grab one of these leaves, and then we'll go over to don't step on it.
And in the shade.
Okay, so this is called Ago Major. It has an oval leaf with a parallel vein. And this is the flower. These are the stamens that make the pollen. The flower is using wind to pollinate it, not insects, so it's not showy or conspicuous. But this is a flower, sort of like a green pencil. Don't eat the pencil by mistake. The main thing you do with these leaves is use them for medicine. If you get a mosquito bite, you tear up the leaf, quick, it's an emergency, and you rub it on the bite. There's juice inside the leaf, you have to really tear it up. And if you keep the bite wet for 15 minutes, rubbing it on repeatedly, it'll cure the bite. You have to do this soon after you've been bitten. The next day it'll stop the itching, but the bite will still be there and it'll itch again later on. So, very important. Has a lot of the medicinal plants that are used in pill cultures haven't been studied scientifically. This one, it is too tough to eat and chew. But I found that if I make a puree, chickpeas, white miso, pine nuts, and herbs and spices, and coat it, and olive oil, and coat the leaf and bake it, it comes out like kale chips, but 1,000,000 times better. That will be on the next update of my app. It also made two people very rich. 101 years ago, there were two brothers, and one of the brothers got a cut on his finger. Do something! The other brother said, here, wrap this leaf around your finger. Thank you so well that 100 years of brothers, inspired by this plant, invented something to put on cuts in 1920 that made them rich. What do you Band-Aid? And what were their names?
Johnson and Johnson?
Johnson and Johnson. Here, you get the prize.
Oh yeah, very good.
Yeah, I actually had someone on a tour who worked for Johnson and Johnson, and she knew the story, and I told her this is the plant that's responsible for your job. So that's how the Band-Aid was invented. We'll go in the shade and I'll show you the life cycle.
I didn't actually know the name of the company. I was like, what was the name? I forgot it. And I was like, oh yeah.
Okay, so this is my drawing of one plant. So the leaves come out in a circle from the base. That's the rosette. Some plants, this is always in the basal rosette form. And here's a photo of when it first comes up in the spring without the flower. And here it is as we see it now with the flowers. And there's a close-up of the flower with the stamens coming out. A lot of plants change very greatly during the growing season. This one doesn't. This one looks pretty much the same from April when it first comes up until it dies, although if it's hit by cold in November, like a lot of leaves, it turns red. Now there is one danger to this plant, and that is that it can harm, cause memory problems. Because you rub it on the mosquito bite for 14 minutes, the itching stops and you forget to rub it on for the 15th minute. So beware. Speaking of memory, let's go back to where we were and take a look at the mushrooms. It looks like a thorn mushroom which grows on wood. What you can tell is, yep, the pink gills. And they're also free from the stem. See, there's a little space between the gills and the stem.
What's the name of that mushroom again?
Fawn. And it sort of looks like a fawn. It is considered yolk spices like garlic, ginger, fresh turmeric, a little bit tamari soy sauce, then it's quite good. One isn't a meal, but here's the mushroom is part of the fungus. The fungus is decomposing the roots of this tree. It grows on wood. And it makes the mushroom to produce spores, and if they land in the right, another fungus will grow, and then the mushroom will grow. So if you kids want to try and experiment, take this home without the stem, put it on some white thick paper like construction paper, cover it with a bowl, and leave it overnight. The next morning, you remove the cap, and there should be lines where the spores came out of the gills. So if you guys want to try it, yeah, put it in a paper bag. These are delicate. So they're good if cooked with enough spices. Obviously, one isn't enough to make a meal, but it's a very distinct mushroom. Fawn mushroom grows on wood, sort of pale gray cap, distinct pink gills underneath, and a space between the gills and the stem. And it comes up from late spring through fall. So you got the bite. Okay, so keep rubbing. Yeah, and next time please don't wear sandals. There's too many hazards. I don't want you walking into poison ivy. Okay, this is longleaf plantain, parallel vein, like common plantain, to which it's related, but a much more narrow leaf. And this is the flower, shaped like a pineapple, and use it the same way. So either of the plantains, if you get a bite, will work.
Either or, same way?
Yeah, use them the same way. Same thing. Yeah, and please ask questions if you have them. I don't know the answer. Don't make one up like when they dock the scale, or if something bad at work, they dock your pay. And burr is because at a later stage this has burrs and sticks. Burdock is a biennial, lives for 2 years. The first year a basal rosette is like a common plantain. These are large, wedge-shaped, a little bit of purple on the stem. Here than here, but we'll see. You put the shovel an inch from the plant, and if there's no stones in the ground, you can dig it up. How many of you are environmentalists? Okay, if you're an environmentalist, there's an incantation you can recite. 2 words that makes it easier to dig up. Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! He's good for... Yeah, so you want to pass it around. Smells like potatoes and dirt.
So the roots are edible?
Yeah. Yes, cooking. There are lots of ways of cooking it. It normally needs moist heat. So if you put it in a soup, a pot of rice, a stew, bean dish where it simmers for 15 minutes and gets tender, it's quite delicious. It needs to be peeled? No. Yeah. The Japanese like to peel it so it looks more white. But that's in this day and age totally the second year, all the energy is going into the seeds, into the flowers and seeds, and the root is sort of like again like shoe. So it's the first year. We're going over a burdock. That's this plant over here. Here, would someone like to try digging one up? Who wants one?
No, we're okay.
Who wants one to take home? An inch from the root. Yeah. Hold it tight with 2 hands and stomp as hard as you can straight down. You don't want to cut the root. Okay, now push backwards, and there you have it. The leaves over there are bigger. If there's no impediment, we may get bigger roots over there. We'll see. But I want to finish talking about it first. In herbal medicine, it's considered a detoxifier. It hasn't been tested scientifically. The flavor is a little like a combination of potatoes and artichokes, and it is actually related to artichokes. And Japanese recipe, I have my own version in my cookbook, is called tempura gobo. It is sold as gobo in Japanese markets and Japanese restaurants. So you slice it up and slice it with carrots and ginger and saute it in sesame oil. Then you need liquid to soften it. Then you put in some tamari soy sauce and wine. Japanese, of course, use mirin, Japanese wine. Cover it and simmer it for about 15 minutes, and then the burdock gets soft. And then you sprinkle on toasted sesame seeds. Has anyone ever had tempura gobo in a Japanese restaurant? Yeah, very delicious dish. So for decades I told people you can't saute it because it's too tough. Then 2 days ago I realized I've been giving out wrong information for 3. I scrubbed off the roots. I put them in like a pressure cooker with controls on it. Minutes to soften it in the Instant Pot. And then once it was cool, I sliced it. I didn't slice it. It's much easier to slice after. And then I sauteed it with which I had shallots and garlic, parsley, rosemary, thyme, and it was incredibly delicious. So I've only been doing this for 38 years, and I'm always experimenting in the kitchen, and I definitely have not scratched the surface of what you can do with these plants. A lot of things you can't saute because they get soggy. If you steam them like I did with Instant Pot, cook them like, and then when something has a lot of water and you cook it in oil, the water, well, if it's boiled, you turn off the heat, it just boils faster. You never get to 375 degrees that you need to saute something and make it crisp. The burdock is dense enough that it doesn't soak up any of the water. So after you've cooked it with steamed it for 15 minutes or Instant Pot cooked it for 5 minutes.
Saw that one last time.
Look around the first year. What's the taste difference? The second year is like trying to eat a stick. It's woody. There's no food in the root because it's about to die and all the nutrients. Yeah, this is going to be easier if you want to dig it up smaller. Any of you kids want to try one? And I'll show everyone when there's no pandemic, I give out samples of another recipe I made for this, which is burdock, marinate the burdock in the same kind of ingredient, soy sauce, olive oil, garlic, bay leaf, or cloves, black peppercorns, and then anyone else want it? And then I bake it, and it comes out tasting like this overall. Let me show the life cycle of this plant. And it's invasive. It comes from Japan. The more you dig up, the better it is for the displaces the native species. So all these images are good. We should have upgrade of it coming out anyway. So this is my pen and ink drawing of the first year plant with a pretty big. The larger the leaves, the larger the root. And the best time to go is after there's been rain. It might make the digging much easier, and where there's no rocks. And that you can only tell by digging. If you keep hitting rocks, just find it somewhere else. It's invasive. It's extremely common. Once you see it, forget it. Especially if the burrs stick to you. So here's a photo of the first year burdock. Here it is with a pretty large root. And this type of root that goes straight down like a carrot is called a taproot. The second year burdock, late May, early June, when the stem is still tender, you simmer it for 1 minute in lightly salted water. That gets rid of the bitterness and makes it easy to peel. Then you peel it, and it tastes like artichoke hearts. The recipe I made with it this spring is I put it in a casserole dish with layers of homemade tomato sauce, vegan cheese, and whole grain pasta, and baked it in the oven and made a really nice burdock stem casserole. I still have some of that in my freezer. So here's second year. It branches and it gets tall. And here's the flower. It's a composite flower made of lots of little flowers bunched together. That way one insect can them all. Very successful family, lots of species, everything from artichokes to dandelions and daisies are composites. And after the second year plant dies, you're left with these burrs. A man by the name of Mestrel, back in the 1940s, was hunting with his dog in the Swiss Alps. And we came, again, hold the dog's ears. When he came home, the dog was covered with burrs. And he looked at these burrs, with little hooks on them. Everyone see the hooks? And he decided to incorporate that into fabric. What did he invent? Velcro. And nobody wanted to buy Velcro. Why do we need Velcro? We have zippers. You know what happened when they invented zippers? We don't need zippers, we have buttons. We don't want your buttons, we have cloaks. When they invented cloaks, why wear cloaks? Look how great I am. So here are the seeds. They're about as edible as pebbles. But if you have a neighbor you don't like, you throw the seeds on their lawn, and the next year you can volunteer to dig up all the weeds on their lawn. You get the burdock and you make friends with them. And here's a dense stand of burdock, similar to what we see in front of us. And here again is the stem, young stem of the second year burdock. And this is a short season, late May to early June, that you want to hunt for, cut off, parboil for 1 minute and peel. Yeah, for decades I peeled it first and then parboiled it, and then I realized a million times easier after it's been boiled to peel off the skin. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, let's see who can spot some later on. It's all over. This is called wood sorrel. Everyone take some, and then we'll go over it. It has 3 leaves that are shaped, yeah, right down there. 3 leaves shaped like tarts.
Oh.
For someone knows this already?
Yeah.
Okay, when did you learn it?
As a kid, I was always just eating it.
It tastes like lemonade. The leaves have parts. You don't want to confuse it.
Oh, here.
Which doesn't have hearts. Easy for me to remember. The wood sorrel with the hearts reminds me of my daughter, who I love. The clover, which has oval leaves, reminds me of my ex-girlfriend who ran off with another guy on Valentine's Day. Yeah, sorrels fall where they don't grow. And it's loaded with vitamin C. What do you think? Is it good? Yeah, if you put in anything, it cooks in 10 minutes. Put it in grain casserole. You can put it in dessert dishes. The sweet dessert benefits from having a sour counter flavor. And this is in season from April to November. Okay, here is my painting of the leaves that we're just looking at. The seed pods and the flowers, which are absent. But we may spot them later. So here's a photo of the same thing. And unlike the burdock, but more like the common plantain, this just has really one look. But it's changed great. And here it is as we see it now without the flowers or the seed. So the only thing you can confuse it with is clover, but that has oval leaves without the heart. This does have oxalic acid, which frightens some people, but the oxalic acid, if you have kidney disease, then you wouldn't want to eat either this or so. If anyone wants to pick some, put in a bag and take home, go ahead, should be all around. I don't think you can buy anything. Yeah. These are they're nutritious, they're healthy, they're very. When they don't mow, it gets bigger. When they mow, it gets cut down, then it starts growing again. Yeah, it gets about this big. Yeah, and there are other wood sorrels in other parts of the country that use the same way. This one has a yellow flower. There's one on the west coast where the leaves are much larger. I believe it has. I've never been to the west. Yeah. Okay, taste the same. Taste exactly. Right. Yeah, a lot of species. Only humans seem to like the sour flavor, and other creatures. Oh, here's another one. See if you can find more of this. Okay, take a look. Pick some of this. This has narrow leaves. Yeah, you have the right one. With teeth on the, don't bite, these are the teeth. Stop that, I'll bite you. Has little white flowers with 4 petals and flat circular seed pods. And take some of the leaves and taste them and tell me what it tastes like. Yeah, there's some right down there. That's it. I'm not telling you, I want you to taste it first. What flavor? You're stepping on it. Yeah. What kind of flavor are you getting? The seeds and the leaves. Like a kale? I don't get kale.
You see one?
Anyone else? Yeah, peppery. It's called poor man's pepper. It's a member of the mustard family, and it's spicy. But of course, it will go really well with the wood sorrel, which has a totally different flavor if you put them both in a salad. Yeah, if you like spicy food, you'll love this.
Kind of like wasabi.
Yeah, wasabi is also in the mustard family. I mean, not having much to do without tours during the pandemic, after preparing my app to be updated, I spent a long time, and I'm not finished yet, doing an online foraging course with videos, photos, illustrations, and recipes. And there are so many wild members of the mustard family that I may, they'll be like short courses, 30 to 60 minutes each. Berries, edible flowers, seaweeds. I may have one whole course on mustards because there's so many of them. But I think this is delicious. Any comments on the flavor? Yeah. And the reason it's called poor man's pepper is because back in Columbus's day was worth more than gold. Anyone know why? Why were spices in such demand in Columbus's day? Not as much preserve. They would salt things. If there was a food shortage, you either had to eat half-rotten food or starve to death. And if you could cover up the bad taste of the food with spices, then you wouldn't starve. And because Europeans had to go to Asia to get spices, which would entail years in the ocean with pirates and storms threatening to kill you, or over land with bandits and unfriendly regimes, it was very costly. So only rich people could afford pepper. Now this is a native plant, and it got transported to Europe very early in the days of exploration, and suddenly poor people had access to a really delicious spice in place of pepper, so that's why it's called poor man's. So it's native, it is extremely common, and this is an area where you can see that mowing has been occurring regularly, and it doesn't care. After it's mowed down, it just grows back. It's in season from April through November, and it starts as a basal rosette because it comes up at the end of March when it's cold, so you're better off staying close to the ground where it's warmer, and there's no taller plant shading you out yet then. Here's my painting of poor man's pepper. Flat circular seed pods arranged on the stem, so it sort of looks like a bottle brush. So this is the stage that we just saw. And look at this. This is what it looks like when it first comes up. The leaves have lobes instead of serrations or teeth, and it's in a basal rosette. Tastes exactly the same. This is what you're going to find and here it is as we see it now. It has 4 petals on the flower. All mustards have 4 petals in the shape of a cross. I think it's a family of Christian plant. And all the energy goes into making seeds. So it's an annual. It dies after it makes the seed. But this more seeds means more plants. So you get more of this throughout the growing season. See more poor man's pepper. Yeah, there it is. You know why it's bigger by the lamppost? The lamppost protects it from its natural enemy. What would kill it that's afraid of lamppost? Lawnmower, yeah. Oh, and there's no vaping. Yeah, if you want to take some home, here's what you do. Get a lot of leaves and seeds and give them to a friend and say, here, eat all of these. They're very sweet. You'll love them. You may lose a friend, but it'll be worth the laugh.
Your life. Hot dogs you get. The brand.
Here. And plenty of
I was hoping you would be involved.
What? You're poking me. Okay, we're in the shade now.
Wood sorrel, everyone see it? Yeah, and the sidewalk is hard for the mowers, prevents the mowers.
I dropped my bag.
Are you sure? I've got one here. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh yeah, I don't want to stay in it.
The native shrub that likes partially sunny, partially shaded areas, lots of water in the ground. Here, see if you like the smell. Boiling water over a ham for 20 minutes. It makes a delicious tea that the Native Americans use for fever. Fever can be caused by any number of infections, and it has never been tested for the common cold or the coronavirus, so we don't know whether or not it works, but it is a delicious tea. So, common spice in the fall. It has red berries that you use as a culinary seasoning. I used to play in chess tournaments. Any chess players here? Okay, it was a grandmaster in the 1700s who said that the pawns are the soul of the chessboard, that they provide structure for all the more powerful romantic pieces. And likewise with cooking, the spices are the soul of cooking. Different recipes being good and a recipe. So now I have a question for you. How are the leaves? No, one on one side, one on the other side. There's something else that makes leaves. Look at one leaf, different size. Look at other leaves, they're all the same size. And anywhere you look, leaves are the same size. This one has different size leaves, teeny ones and big. They're shaped like, but they're alternate, which means you're alone. There's not two leaves, so therefore they're shaped. And they have this nice smell, and it's a bush, so unlike a tree, an elephant, or a car, it doesn't have a trunk, all the branches. And you find this in woods everywhere. The soil is rich, it doesn't grow in sandy soil, and you can see the soil is moist. And in the winter, when there's snow, you can use the twigs for tea. Again, the berries which you get in the fall, they're too strong to eat by themselves, sort of like garlic. But they are wonderful. I put them in everything from baked meat dishes and make cheese butter. I love them. Just have one of the spice into any of the spices, but they lose their flavor when you dry them. This you have to use fresh. Okay, so here's my painting. In the fall, the leaves are starting to turn yellow. Again, shaped like teardrops, alternate, not in pairs, and different sizes. And those are the berries you want to pick. September is the best month. And in the spring, they have beautiful little yellow flowers. This is in April. The flowers come out the winter. And here's a close-up of the flower, beautiful little flower. And if you look at the bark, it has dots on it. I did a tour for Moore's Explorers. It's a science book. They're very smart kids. I wouldn't recommend it, though. I had a bad experience with that camp. Yeah, we had a lunch break, and one of the kids beat me in chess. Then a 5-year-old girl told me that because of the dots on the bark, it looks like a food that you buy from a street vendor in Manhattan. What food looks like this? Covered with white dots. Yes! I would never have thought of it. 5-year-old girl knew more about botany than I did. Helps you recognize it in the winter.
Yeah, I remember the tea. Yeah, we actually cooked.
With the barrel.
I never did anything with it.
Get some leaves. It's not going to harm the bush. It is native, but it's extremely common. One better.
You want to get some? Yeah, for some tea. As long as you remember what it is.
Thank you, Doc. Wondering.
I got my bag in my pocket. You can drink a lot of tea. Oh.
And this is the sapling. It has 3 kinds. One leaf is oval. One leaf has 3 lobes like a T-Rex footprint. And one leaf looks like something you wear in the winter. What does it look like? A mitten. So 3 kinds of leaves.
Yeah.
It's a medium-sized tree, but we want the smaller ones around this size.
Watch out, poison ivy.
If you can pull out the roots, you wash it off. Anyone have some water handy you can pour over this and clean this? All right, well, you wash it off and simmer the roots for about 20 minutes, covered low heat. Here, pass it around and smell it. What smell do you get? 100 years ago, there was a man who wanted to get rich, and he wanted to make a new beverage that would make the wealthy people go to buy beverages. 100 years ago.
Yeah, drugstore.
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 A bar. And what's the most common thing that people drink in bars? And what do you think he used to market this? Smell like root beer? Sassafras. And so the Native Americans used it for tea. You wash it off, simmer it covered for 20 minutes, and you can use the root over and over again. And that little root is probably enough for a gallon of tea. You chill
I
the
think that's
tea, and then
poison
you
ivy
add
over
chilled
there,
sparkling
isn't
water.
it?
Why do
What
they
about
have to
this?
be
The
chilled?
3-leaf one.
This over here is sassafras.
What about this stuff?
No, what would happen
This over here.
to carbonated water if it's
That
hot?
looks like it. I don't know. That is over there, definitely.
Okay.
It goes flat. Yeah, you can't leave soda out to get warm. So you chill it, and then you mix in some of the tea, some of the chilled carbonated water, and the outer layer. Yeah, that's it. So if you take 2 hands and pull from the bottom, you should get the root. So I also scrape out the white outer layer of the root and use it in desserts. It tastes like a combination of root beer, cinnamon, and anise. No one's ever used it as a seasoning before, but it is very delicious. And then the other thing is, you can eat the smaller leaves. Who wants to try one? It's mucilaginous, so it'll have. Anyone else want?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but do you feel the thickness? So in Louisiana, they dry the filet powder. Anyone who cooks here knows what a gumbo. So you put the powder in, and it thickens with that really nice flavor. But I discovered that you don't even have to dry. They didn't have to in 1800, so you put some in the blender and then pour that into the soup, and you get it. You do that at the end of the. Otherwise, is that a nice flavor?
That also looks like beautiful.
Native tree, and it's extremely common,
the whole
but it
plant
can't
to make
survive spread by the roots. So somewhere there's an adult tree, and it makes all these. And the Native Americans used it as a detoxifier. Now there is a danger to sassafras. So let me warn you, the FDA took it off the market because they discovered to their horror that if you have the equivalent of a single day, for just 2 years, and you just happen to be a rat, you'll have a higher chance of developing liver. In all of recorded history, zero sick from sassafras. And beer, which due to its alcohol content, it's 40 times as harmful as sassafras is to rodents, is still on the market. But the experiment proves 2 important points. 1, there's a stronger beer body, and 2, there are a lot of rats in the oven. The Native Americans knew about this. It's delicious. It's in every park. And look at the form of it, because it's in season in the winter. See how all the branches point upward like this? Well, imagine putting a candle at the end of each of these branches, and then tell me what religion this tree must be. I'll give you a hint. Yeah, it's a Jewish tree. Remove the leaves and it looks like a menorah. And you couldn't put candles at the end of all these branches or anything else here. The spice bush, they just fall down. But sassafras, without the leaves in the winter, has the configuration of the menorah. This is, as I said, in season all year. As long as the ground isn't frozen, you can pull out the roots. And if who likes to cook here? Okay, as a culinary seasoning, this is incredible. Goes well with things like brine and let me show you. You need one more person. Okay, so here is my drawing of the twig that's bent upward, and the flowers which bloom in late April, early May. So here's the sapling as we see it now, and here's a close-up of the flowers. And these are the berries which you hardly ever see. He gets this. So here's again flat plating on it, and this got a nice sized root. So I scrape off one other danger since the native. That's a U5 years back in the brought this back to Europe. They went back to America, got more sassafras, and sold it up the plane pure, and made even more. Then they got more sassafras, brought it back again, and said it cures everything. That everything's gone. Anyone's sassafras tea would be suspected of having an STD. The bottom dropped out of the sassafras market, the bubble burst, and the importers lost everything.
What happened?
How it got associated with us.
Yeah, it got associated with it.
The foul?
I think they kept claiming that it could clear all these things. Basically, I think I got that few kids to sound out. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, you can't. There's separate male and female spice bushes. So this is a female that has.
I think I had a chick on. You may want to check in. It was
Hmm.
big though. It was just, I don't know if it's state. That
Yeah.
was large for a chick, but it had 6 legs. So
What do you want to eat?
I don't know. Can't believe that was paying for it.
Delicious. I'm surprised to find them. They become very rare over the last 13 years. You know, like blackberries have become rare. Too much competition with the iPhone. So you can also determine the DNA of a plant. You know how to find out what the DNA is like? You have the plant pull down its genes. Plant some of these, and you can eat the smaller leaves and the seed. Tell me what flavor you get. And we're gonna have our lunch break in about 10 minutes. Place up ahead where we can sit down. What flavor are you getting? Yeah, I get 3 flavors, and one of them is pepper. The one with these little seeds, forest seeds sticking up. Yeah, it's called honewort.
Oh yeah. What's
Who knows what the word hone means? H-O-N-E.
it? To follow something or?
Anyone know what hone means? Yeah, that's preceded by sharpen, like honing a knife. So after 30 years, wort, W-R-T is an old name for plant. After 30 years, I figured out why it's called honewort. Look at the edge of the leaf. It looks very sharp.
How much of that is edible? The whole plant?
The younger leaves and the seeds. And look, the leaves come in 3s and they're shiny underneath. Everyone see how they're shiny? So the seeds are going to get tough, but now they're good. So I get carrot. Who gets other flavors? I get 2 other flavors in addition to carrot. Anyone taste anything else?
Well, no.
Okay, I also taste a little bit of celery and parsley. So you can use the smaller leaves as long as they're tender enough to chew as a vegetable, and the seeds make an incredible spice. These are especially good in salad dressing. Put some oil, vinegar, a little white miso in a blender, and you get a really good salad. Honewort, there's a culinary seasoning used in Europe called, in the same family as it. And if you cook and you ever use celery seeds or caraway seeds, this goes into the same kind of recipes. And this is in season from spring. The smaller tender leaves are always, young leaves are always good. So here's my drawings of the sparse flowers, which are similarly configured to the sparse seeds, and the leaves that split with a sharp teeth. And this is the young plant when it first comes up. Then all the leaves are edible. That's in would be in late April or May. And here are the leaves when they're a little bit bigger. And these are the flowers. Same configuration as the seed. And this also cures bad breath. And after it dies, it looks like straw on the ground. That's so you know in the winter where you can find this the next year. That's honewort. Any comments on it?
Tasted good.
Of course, you mix some honewort in a salad with Foreman's pepper and wood sorrel and just some store-bought salad greens and Foreman's pepper. You'll have the best and most nutritious salad you've ever eaten. Where? Yeah, I grew up in the and what food? Yes,
Oh, I love that.
okay, right.
Yeah. Well, otherwise,
The more you do that, the more you'll remember. All this on the right, all family spices.
The sassafras tree.
The more you keep these things in your mind, the more you'll just start recognizing them automatic. Okay, everyone stop. I'm responsible for your safety. This is a very dangerous place. I grew up a few blocks from here. And when I was 16, I learned how to play chess. I biked to the other end of the park, on Woodhaven Boulevard. There were chess tables. And unlike today, when people are playing computer games, there are always tons of people playing chess. You're lucky to get a board to play. And then I came home. And see that railing over there, the right side of the trail? I was bicycling home. I was 6, and there were teenagers, older than me, sitting on the railing. And back then, if there's one of you and there's half a dozen of the others, they attacked us. Yeah, so they were like teenagers. And one of them grabbed my bike. I pedaled as hard as I could and just barely managed to shake him off from the bike. I had an old 3-speed bike, and they had 10-speed bikes, and they all stopped being more fun to do. So I had a little bit of a head start, and I went around. So for a few seconds, they lost sight of me. What do you think I did then? Didn't hide. You hear this? Listen, there's a street on the other side of. I ran through the woods with my bike, dropped my bike off the stone wall there, and went that way. They all went right. So if you see some 75-year-old men with really ragged clothes, see bikes, say, "Where's that guy? Don't tell them." Okay, so we're gonna have a lunch break. Yeah, if you want to space out, you can also sit on the log over there.
Let's check it over. The check we got last.
What? Oh yeah,
I forgot what that was.
they're gone now. Drop.
Oh, one more delicious thing I just see here. One of my favorite plants. Everyone take some of these and see what you get. Then after lunch food, you settle and rubs come out, and you can eat them. They'll go well.
Oh yeah, it's right here.
What flavor do you get?
It's so hard to say.
Spicy. The plant is called garlic mustard. It's a member of the mustard. Very tasty, again, if you like spicy food. And if you cook with mustard seeds, you have to grind them up first. These you don't.
Yeah, they're like soft.
Yeah, I bake these into bread.
Yeah, it is. The garlic mustard is right here.
What's the name of it?
Garlic mustard. I'll go over it in depth after the lunch break. But meanwhile, you can collect a lot.
But there's a bunch of it right over there.
Fall on the ground when you collect them, especially
this
if
one
you're
also.
Catholic. You're not supposed to spill your seeds. So it's one of the worst plants. The more you eat, the better. It's called garlic mustard because the leaves smell and taste like garlic. That's to protect it from insects. Usually effective, but it doesn't work with Italian insects. See, here's my painting of the first year plant, a basil rosette again, with heart-shaped leaves, lots of dark veins, long leaf stalks, and you crush it, it smells like garlic. So very easy to recognize. And this survives the winter. If it's not an extremely cold winter, and the leaves have a little bit of bitterness, but a nice flavor with overtones of garlic. And even now in the summer, although it's pretty bitter, if you put it in a food processor with olive oil, basil, walnuts, nutritional yeast, a little bit of coarse salt, you get an incredible. So it first comes up in, and it has little sprouts that look like this is, and you put this in hummus and pita bread, and they're very delicious. Garlic flavored bread. Here's the basil rosette. I know you're itching to learn about it. Second year, the garlic mustard develops a stem. The leaves are alternate or single. What else had alternate leaves today? Yeah, the common spice bush. And plants that are related have similar reproductive structures. What does this bud look like that you buy in the store except it's bigger? Starts with a B. A B? Yeah, look at the bud. Think of it as 20 times bigger. And it looks like that that you buy in the store. Well, yes, here, this bud's for you. So here are the flowers. All mustards, poor man's pepper, garlic mustard, all have flowers with 4 petals in the shape of a cross, proving that this is a Christian family of plants. And here is what it looks like now with the needle-shaped seed pods with the seeds inside, and the seeds after you pull them out. And here's the second-year plant in flower. This is in May, and the leaves you pull off the flower stalk are incredibly delicious, spicy, garlicky, really, really good. And here's my pen and ink drawings of the rounds of basil leaves and the plant with the seed pods just starting to form and the flowers on top. Now, when the plant stores food underground, fall, winter, and early spring, you can eat the root. Although I avoid it because I'm a vegan. The root tastes like horseradish. Very delicious. That's garlic mustard.
Is that it over there, the first one?
I'm going to put this away, and we're going to look at poison ivy. Everyone, the poison ivy has one to the left, one to the right, and the middle one has a stem. Can everyone see that? And it's a little bit shiny. And look at other plants, and then look at the poison ivy, and you'll see how it's shiny, and the other plants spice bush, and the like are not. So if you touch this, you get a really bad rash. Not everyone gets the rash. Once upon a time, I did a tour, and there was an old German lady by the name of Louisa who came on it. And Louisa, what happened 2 years of handling it before she got the disease? Look at it. The worst thing is to be burning and breathing the smoke. Though they did find one person who lives in Westchester with his wife. They're the most famous couple to live in Westchester. Who's the guy? No, he's not a... No. Bill Clinton, he doesn't inhale. It can grow close to the ground as a non-woody or herbaceous plant. It can grow as a woody shrub about 3 to 4 feet tall and can grow as a hairy vine around a tree. We will find jewelweed later on, which if you touch poison ivy and rub the jewelweed where you touch the poison ivy, you won't get the rash. Other thing you can do is get poison ivy soap from the drugstore and scrub really thoroughly several times. You can't see the poison, but it's an oil, urushiol, that has the consistency of invisible car grease. You can't get car grease off by just a little wash. So you have to scrub and rinse about 5 times, and then you'll get it off your skin. But the jewelweed has worked on any tour where someone has never seen it. Yeah, so you should try it. I mean, there's no guarantee. I've never heard of anyone going whether that gets, I don't know, you can certainly try it. Yeah. Well, some people do. Some people eat poison ivy. They take the smallest leaves and they eat 1 bite the first day and 2 the second and 3 the third day. What are they trying to do? Yeah, get immune to it. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't work, you get a terrible rash where it enters the body, and a much worse rash where it exits the body on the other end. Yeah, it backfires. Let me show you all these poison ivy. And then try to spot it as we're walking along. It's a native species. And it does provide shelter for small animals near the seashore where there's not much cover for them. So it does have its uses. And it's only humans, guinea pigs, and 1 species of monkey that's affected by poison ivy. Nothing else is harmed by it. See, here's my brush and ink painting of it. 3-parted leaf called a compound leaf, and the middle leaflet, the middle segment, has a stem. And the side ones don't, and it's shiny. Here it is when it's a baby, then it's quite red. This is when dumb people eat it. Yeah, I haven't come up with any recipes yet. Here it is in April, very shiny and still a little red. And this is what it looks like now. This is what we have under the rail. Then it can grow as a vine on a tree or a fence. Same leaves, but real thick, lots of them. And these are the flowers that bloom in May, beautiful and deadly, sort of like my ex-wife. They are beautiful. Here are the sticks left over in the winter, and these are just as poisonous as the plant is now. When the plant dies, there should be little woody shrubs there. And if you look at the shrubs closely, they have a few hairy roots. That's how you recognize it in the winter. See the hairy roots? Now, within a few more weeks, it should have these berries. Small, ivory white, and clustered. Delicious if you're, and all parts are equally toxic. You can count on. All year, all parts. It's a reliable plant. It turns such a beautiful red in the fall that competitive gardeners from other countries have transplanted it overseas to outcompete their neighbors for fall foliage. And had to be eradicated in Germany. And here is the vine in the winter, full of hairy roots. Hairy rope, don't be it. So this one has a lot of forms, and they're all equally toxic. So let's see who can find poison ivy as we're walking along. We're going to cross this railroad trestle and then go on the trail through the woods.
The leaves are 3, right?
Yes, it's actually 1 leaf, comes from 1 bud. It's called a compound. That's a grape. There might be some image for a grape. Oh, here they are. Yeah, you come back here in September. These are going to be very delicious grapes. Can everyone see them? They're not ready yet. They come in the fall. Yeah, we don't have the time to go over out of season things in depth. There's too many things.
I think I saw some in the place.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know trail markers, each trail has its own color, and when there's two markers and one is above the other, that means you're turning in the direction of the upper one. The Native Americans did that with stone axes, making marks in the trees, which are obviously much harder to see. But when you're coming back, you just follow the trail in the opposite direction. There should be markers on both sides of the tree. And right down here, 3 leaves shining, and the middle leaf has the stem and growing on the side of the tree. Everyone see it? And next to the rock. 3 leaves, woody stem down there, and the middle leaf has its own stem. Right there, right here. These two don't have the stem, this one does. Same thing, this one has a big stem, these don't, and they're shiny. Look at other leaves. And you can see these are comparatively shiny, especially the younger ones like this one. And it can grow as a vine. Oh, someone cut it down. See the hairy vine going up the tree? That was all poison ivy. For some reason, someone cut it down. And it's native. It comes from the north and west. Yes, you have to make do with poison ivy.
No, I know.
Oh. Poison ivy in here.
So,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. I think it's very poisonous.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, white snake would be faster. Who are you?
Yeah, thanks.
The white flowers is nightshade. If you walk through this, especially in later July and August, there are so many burrs that stick to your socks you can die of annoyance. And if you're my age, by the time you remove them all, you've died of old age. Here, everyone see it? Back there, you get to see it so often. Anyone recognize this from the iPad? Yes, this is the first year garlic mustard. Here, crush it and smell it. You'll smell the garlic. And scratch and sniff the root. It smells like horseradish. Yes, excellent.
Thank you.
Do you like poison ivy?
Sure you want that?
Why didn't I pick green?
Oh, yes. This is a black birch tree. What color is the bark? Gray. And is it rough or smooth?
on the stick.
Smooth.
And are there any markings on it? Look closely. What kind of markings?
Horizontal.
Horizontal. Okay, so leaves are oval to heart shaped. They have very fine teeth on them. They can be in twos or they can be single. And what I want everyone to do is take a twig, throw away the leaves, and tell me what the flavor is. Which gum? Only one gum.
Spearmint?
No, no.
Wintermint?
Not a mint.
Like,
No.
it's like
Wintergreen. You got it. Who said wintergreen? Who takes it? Other name for oil of wintergreen is methyl salicylate. Does anyone know what kind of a medicine a salicylate is? Anyone know what salicylic acid is?
yeah.
What?
Use it as a skin treatment to take care of.
It's aspirin.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so this is a precursor of aspirin. And this is a native tree, so the Native Americans knew how to use it. You pour boiling water over a handful of twigs, cover it and let it sit for 20 minutes, and it makes a delicious tea that tastes like wintergreen, and it's good for pain and inflammation. It also lowers your risk of heart disease. They used to give low-dose aspirin to prevent heart disease, but it turns out that 1 in a million people from low-dose aspirin will get internal bleeding from it. And if you're not in danger of having a heart attack, then low-dose aspirin isn't a good idea in case you're one of those 1 in a million that has an adverse reaction. But no one has ever had a bad reaction to oil of winter. So you can use this fresh or dry, break off some branches, strip off the leaves, put the twigs in a bag, and anytime you want a cup of tea, that will reduce your risk of heart disease and might reduce your risk of cancer too, because this is anti-inflammatory and cancer thrives on inflammation. And what I do with this is I take a cup of the twigs and I boil them in 7 cups of almond milk or any non-dairy milk with a cup of tapioca pearls, a cup of raisins, a piece of vanilla bean and some butterscotch extract. And I put in an herb called stevia for sweetness, a cup of raisins, and I simmer that for 20 minutes, and then I remove the twigs, and I serve stick pudding, which is a wintergreen, oh, also some freshly grated lemon rind. And the lemon rind and the wintergreen flavor together are incredible, and the tapioca is creamy. You get a really good pudding. So I can't hold on to this much longer if you want to. This is a big tree. You're not going to do any harm by breaking off some twigs. It's in season all year.
What's the name of the tree?
Black birch. It's native. It grows in the forests. And even in the winter, again, look at the bark and compare it to other trees. It's smooth and gray, and when you get close to it, which you should do, get to see it yourself, it has horizontal lines. It's definitely one of, no one's ever used this as a culinary seasoning, but it works really well in a tapioca pudding, and probably other puddings too. Okay, everyone has what they want. I'm going to let go. Oh, and it cures bad breath. So let me show you some pictures. Yeah, what do you think? Who likes that flavor? Yeah, I love it. But any pudding or anything that has liquid, you throw this in and then remove it when you're finished cooking, and you'll have that really nice wintergreen flavor. It doesn't have the artificial. Well, what the Native American, they had an injury. They drink a cup of tea every hour, and after about 5 hours of drinking the tea regularly, then you get enough of a dose, which again is preventative of heart disease. So here's my pen and ink drawing of the twig and the leaves that we just saw. In the spring, it has catkins. These are male flowers that release pollen in the air. Anyone have pollen allergies? This is good for causing the allergy. Yeah. And in the winter, it has these little off-center curves of reddish-brown buds. Helps you spot it. It's one of the things that's in season in the winter. And these are the female flowers. They look like little bumpy caterpillars. And in the fall, they turn into little cones. So it's not just the pine trees that have cones. The black birch has cones. Beautiful tree. And here's the smooth gray bark with the horizontal lines that I pointed out. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. She's going to be co-leading tomorrow's tour, and she co-led yesterday's tour. When she was 1 year old, I gave her black birch to chew on. Why did I give her this to chew on? Teething. This is the best remedy for teething. You can't give babies strong painkillers, but this is low dose enough that babies can use it, and it got rid of the teething pain every single time. Now, kids, this can get you rich. Here's what you do. First, you convince your parents to get you a baby brother or baby sister. Then you get a lot of black birch right here. This is it too. And hide them. When the baby is about 1 year old and getting new teeth and crying and your parents can't sleep, you sell them the black birch. You get a lot of money, your parents get a good night's sleep, and the baby stops crying, so everyone wins. That's the black birch. Come on my tour tomorrow. My daughter, who's now 16, will be co-leading it. You won't hear much from me. She finds all the plants and mushrooms faster than I do, and she steals all my jokes. Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah, those are so cute.
And actually, what I
Okay, see the trail marker? Orange trail marker, the higher one is on the left. That means we're going left to stay on the trail and not right. So here, the right trail goes pretty much the same way. I don't want to go across. I want to go further down. Let's keep going down this way. Wait, let me think. Oh, let's go this way. Pretty much the same. What's over here? Poison ivy. You want to see it without then?
He's just trying to give me advice on what.
Oh, look at this. This is called a kettle. Yeah. During the Ice Age, you had mountains of ice bigger than the tallest buildings in the city, and they would cut these holes in the ground. And when the Ice Age ended for hundreds of years, you still had a big block of ice in there until it finally melted. And then for hundreds or thousands of years, there was a pond there. And you do the same thing in Alley Pond Park, where there's still water in the what are called kettle ponds. But every year, leaves fall from the trees fully filled up the pond, so now there's no more water on the bottom. But there are deeper ones in Alley Pond Park where there's still water in those. But in another 5,000 years, those will be filled up too.
Feels like I literally do that unclean. It's like when he's left eating. Well, it's not my it's what do you call it? It's called and here. Whatever.
Yes, crush it and you'll smell the garlic.
I'm just kind of curious, dude.
Yeah, everyone take a garlic mustard leaf, crush it and smell it. Yeah, here too. And if you pull up the root and scratch and sniff, you'll smell horseradish.
Oh man,
You scratch and sniff the root. Smells like horseradish. The root has food stored underground in the fall, winter, and early spring. So that's when you can eat it. Now there's no food in the root. It's like eating your shoelace. Yeah, very tasty. That was a card. Look at the beautiful poison ivy on the left. Yeah, another kettle pond.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at the bark. What tree is this? Blackbird. Smooth bark, horizontal line. What you do is climb up to the top to get the twig. Yeah. The bad thing about bringing kids on steps, but nothing to be further than the tree following.
You ever find any wild leeks around here?
Any what?
Wild leeks?
Not in Forest Park. I found them in Cunningham Park and Van Cortlandt Park. And if you come on my tour in the Bronx River Pathway in Crestwood in April, we'll get them there too. Bedford Coast Inn has them, but Richard Gere kicked me out. He owns the property. Decided people shouldn't learn about nature.
Very nice.
No, he came on a tour with me with his chefs.
Really?
Yeah, then they got new chefs. This guy teaching nature. People should yeah, so if you're walking here by yourself or with your dog, you can see the train tracks on the side here. So you just follow them one way and then follow them the other way, and you won't get lost. Yeah, so we had lunch on the other side of the tracks.
I came here one time with the stones. Called.
Okay, what's this plant over here? Yeah, garlic mustard. Good. Yeah, just in case things have changed in 60 years. In the fall, okay, see if PS 99 would be interested in organizing tours so other kids can learn about the planet they live on. So what's growing on the side of the tree? Jewelweed. Everyone take one of these and we'll look at it. Yeah. So the stem is what you want. It has shallow roots. It comes right up. This plant has to grow in wet areas because it has shallow roots. So it has long stalks that are elliptical, scalloped edged. And if you rub the stem, there's a blue powder on it. And that's called a bloom. It's a wax that keeps the plant from drying out. You remove the roots and the leaves. It's the stem you want. And if you touch poison ivy, you break the stem and rub the juice where you touch the poison ivy, you won't get the rash. Like common plantain, if you get a mosquito bite and keep the bite wet for 15 minutes for the bite. It's good for wasps, and this is one of the medicinal plants that scientists have actually studied. And they found an active chemical in it. If you're a pharmaceutical company, you have to do really quickly when you're trying to patent? They patented it, and then they put that chemical into an ointment and applied the ointment where the sun don't shine. What did they invent? Preparation H. Yeah, so if you don't like my jokes, you can take this and shove it. This is the basis of Preparation H. It's a very effective topical anti-inflammatory. And mosquito bites, bee stings, rashes, anything that's irritating your skin. Again, and this is native. Common plantain is European. You can also stick this into a jar. Cover it to the top with witch hazel, which you buy in the drugstore. And to the very top, make sure there's no air bubbles or it goes moldy. Shake every morning, and after 2 weeks, sweet extract from bottles. And you have the best home remedy for any kind of skin irritation. Very effective. It's native. It comes up at the end of March, dies, and I always keep some of this with me. And after 37 years of doing tours and always keeping some, I was bicycle riding in one direction, and there was a nature group with 5 and 6-year-olds going in the other direction. And one of the kids went and asked the teacher, "Is this poison ivy?" And he was right. I stopped my bike to 37 years of carrying this. I said, "Excuse me," I introduced myself. He's right, that is poison ivy, and this is the plant to use to prevent the rest. Extremely effective plant. Anyone has to water some on the leaves, and you'll see why it's called jewelweed. The wax that keeps it from drying out repels water, and it looks like little jewels. And I just put some more at the end of these. Yeah, that's nice. Jewelweed. Try a little closer.
Which one?
This one.
I can marinate it.
There you go. Everyone see the jewels on the jewelweed? Kids.
I look Owen to try.
Yeah, if you have any dumb friends, you can sell them the diamonds and get one. Yeah. Looks like a diamond. What is it? Yes. But if you have your friend is dumb enough, you can sell them. Yeah, it hasn't flowered yet here. I have seen flowers already this year. This is a fairly shady spot, so they haven't developed yet. Flowers are like little orange trumpets. Yeah, where have you found it? Oh yeah, it's basically in every park. It's native. Bear Mountain is great, but I can't get people to sign up. So here it is with a trumpet-shaped flower, and also the sprouts that you get at the end of March. And they already have the fat stem, so they're already useful. So here's a photo of the sprout. Kidney-shaped leaves in twos, and here it is in full flower. And here is the flower and the spindle-shaped seed. And if you grab the seed pod inside your hand, the seeds will pop in your hand. You can eat them. They taste like walnuts. They're small, but they're a lot of fun, especially for kids. And the little flowers used the same way. The orange one is more common. And there's the jewels on the leaf that we already saw. And it's called jewel weed because it grows in dense stands. So this is the one you can pick as much as you want. You're not going to do any harm. And here are the seeds, which again are edible. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you could boil the sprouts, but then they're as tasteless as my joke. What's the you then? Okay. If any of the science teachers are interested, instead of sitting in the classroom, if you have school again in the fall. No, you found black raspberries. Oh, look, you have to be careful. If you eat too many of these, you can die of happiness. Can we give these to the kids? Kids, come here. You're going to love these. One for you. Pick the black one.
What are those?
Black raspberries. Just be careful you don't die of happiness. Do you want to try it? They're really good. Who wants? I see 2. Yes. Tell me if this isn't the best berry you've ever eaten. They're really good. What do you? The black raspberry.
Yeah, it tastes like raspberry.
It is a raspberry. Yeah, 3-parted leaf like poison ivy, but the leaves have teeth on the edge, and there are thorns.
Do all berries have thorns?
No. There's a lot that don't. Only the mulberry season. Very, watch out, right next to poison ivy there. You can tell here, so watch out for horses. When I was a teenager, I rode horses. My favorite horse was Pat. He was the biggest horse in the stables. I was 14, I could just barely control him. And he just loved to run. And sometimes you couldn't stop him. So one day I was riding Pat. Since I was a good rider, the stables, Parkside, for Sills let me go by myself instead of with a group. And we were going really, really fast, but then the trail ended. So Pat stopped. Right over his shoulder. Now, life had one, and that was the leaves of the trees. So Pat went and started gnawing on the trees. I ran after him. But it turns out a horse is a lot faster than a 14-year-old. I had 1 hour to get Pat back to the stables where I'd be in a lot of trouble, and I wouldn't be allowed to go by myself. I'd have to be with a injured guide for smoking cigarettes and stopping and beginner's pace. So I needed a cat and Pat, but every time I ran after him, he'd run off and start eating more trees. I finally figured out what to do. Any guess? No. I got him! I walked so slowly that he was too busy eating the tree to think he was being pursued. I got back on the horse, tall horse, and without a stone bench to climb up on, it was really hard to get back up on him. But I managed it and got back. I was late. They yelled at me, but they, to this day, they don't know what happened. And don't ever, if you ever go to Parkside riding it, don't tell them. Get us to another wide bridle path on the other side, and then fast and find it.
Like it. Be careful.
It's smoking like
Oh, there's more mushrooms in the bar.
Good then?
Look at this one. We've been on this stuff.
I certainly wouldn't do that down there. Go up here. There's a trail swimming.
I'm sure.
Somebody.
I read the price.
Yeah, it's a long way back. So we're going to go back to the page path. Back.
Keep heading this way.
Way, the other way. So here's the jewelweed with flowers. Because it's getting more sun, it's a little more, aren't they beautiful? Little trumpets with dots in it. So the bee pushes its way all the way inside and it gets the nectar. And because jewelweed doesn't like this much sun, the leaves are like partial shade. And again, if you don't have some, take some, you never know.
Together. Like,
Yeah.
And then back, all the way back that way.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we're going to start heading back. What's here we under? Right there. Okay, and what's this on the... Yeah, the spurs here. Hey, you come on these tours regularly, you'll see these things so many times, you'll be able to recognize them in your sleep. About 10 tours and you'll know about 95% of the plant. Okay, anyone who wants some mustard seed, so here's the first year garlic mustard on the ground, and then the second year over there. Anyone else want it? What's this plant growing in the grass here? Yeah, common plant. Oh, we found a new plant here. Everyone take one of these plants with the flowers. It's called lady's thumb. Here, press your thumb right here. Your thumb. Hey, look, here's your thumbprint. See the thumbprint? And look, the other leaves have her thumbprint too. And the ones on the ground have it. How did that happen? Yes, it tastes like lettuce. You eat the leaves. Let us see what you think. Lady's thumb. Now, the leaves are alternate. They're elliptical, smooth edges. It's in the smartweed family. But so look at what I'm showing you here. See this little row of hairs on the stem? Other members of the smartweed family don't have these hairs. And if you eat those, they'll make you smarter because they make your mouth smart. Smart isn't means hurt. They make your mouth smart, and then you'll be smart enough never to eat them again.
Oh, yeah.
Getting into the trail and start listening.
Mild tasting, so these go well with the mustard and the wood sorrel. The leaves, the flowers I don't like. My daughter likes them. I like the leaves though. I find them a little like lettuce, mild tasting. And very good. I just ate some of the mustard seeds, so this offsets the intensity of the mustard. And this is a warm weather plant. Doesn't come up until June, and always looks the same. Garlic mustard. Oh, this is a mint. Take one of these. Swirl the stem in your hand and see if you can figure out how many sides the stem has. Yeah.
What is this called?
Heel all. Four sides? It's a four sides. It's a member of the mint family. The flowers are in twos, and it has the leaves are in twos, opposite leaves, and it has these beautiful five-petaled tubular flowers. Doesn't have any flavor. You make tea with it, and it's loaded with antioxidants.
Mine has nine.
It's a they sell this in herb stores. Quite expensive, and it does have antioxidants in it, so it lives up to its name. Peel plant. Yeah. And what's this one over here? Sassafras. And what's this one? No, Enchanter's Nightshade. This is the one you avoid. It gets all over your socks.
Timmy said I'm really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
But he's with Timmy.
Must we're all even. He didn't seem to be getting to eat.
Halfway don't do enough afternoon.
What did I thought?
No, I said I
Pretty good too. Really good. And then
What's this one?
wood sorrel?
Yeah, and it hasn't been mowed, so it's much bigger than it was. Oh, and look, this one has flowers on it. So these are the flowers of the wood. Help yourself, leave the roots in, it grows right back. Anything you put this in will be delicious. You may have some seed pods there. Spindle-shaped pod. Yeah, here, everyone look. These are the seed pods. There's little seeds in them. Well, here are the seeds. Now you've seen all the stages. Yeah. Anything that's soft, just the tough parts of the stem on. This is mugwort. Here, take one of these and let's go in the shade. We'll go over this. This one. We saw earlier. Yes, jewelweed. So this is mugwort. Wort, W-O-R-T, is an old name for plant, and the English put this in their mug of beer as a flavoring. It has alternate leaves that are deeply cut. Looks like someone snipped at it with scissors. They're white underneath. And this is used in traditional Chinese medicine for PMS. You make a big pot of tea, pour boiling water over the plant, let it sit covered for 20 minutes, strain it out, put it in a pitcher, and drink a cup every morning and every night starting a week before your period. Hasn't been tested scientifically, but I know this works. Ever since I've learned this plant, I've never had a cramp. You can also put it under your pillow and it can give you vivid dreams. It is related to ragweed, so if you have allergies to ragweed, you leave this one alone. Mugwort means plant, and mug is because the English put it in their mug of beer. This is the traditional Chinese medicine for